Are you interested in packaging your knowledge into a high ticket product on or offline? If your answer is yes, the Giant Experience is for you. Here's my story. I got started in my business over 20 years ago, and I simply made the decision to go to work as myself. And maybe you have been wondering how you can take all of those years of experience, your knowledge, or your degrees, and put them to use for yourself and to package it into a monetizable structure. That was me 20 years ago. I wanted to figure out how to take my background as a corporate trainer, and I realized that so many women wanted to know exactly how I was able to write best-selling books, and having done partnerships with both Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies and get signed to media, Emmy-nominated and nationally syndicated television shows as the mom strategist. And so I decided to equally transfer what I knew how to do to them. And I built out a coaching practice that today has coached thousands of women just like you who are ambitious, smart, and sharp, highly actionable, go-getters. And they wanted to figure out how they could go to work for themselves. Hey there, guys, it's Mia here, and I am so excited about this topic today. It was something that was on my heart today, and it's late, and I thought I just want to maybe if I touch one person tonight with who would you be if you weren't afraid? And I'm going to talk about different aspects of how fear really gets in the way of us being our gigantic selves, of us owning what is really great about us, not launching in the ways that we should, because self-doubt becomes the voice that's the loudest. If that's what you're dealing with, you're going to love what I'm going to share tonight. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant. I started my company 20 years ago. You know what I had to do? I had to silence fear. I had to silence doubt. I had to silence that voice that said, hey, that idea, even though I had not seen it, mom coaching at the time, that no one's done it. It's not going to work. It's not going to make money. And you know what? Because I decided to face the fear, I got to live with a new gift, and you'll get to live with a incredible new gift as well. I'm Mia Redrick. And for those of you who've been following me, you've watched my journey over the last 20 years. I started initially as a mom coach, and I built an amazing coaching practice, coaching hundreds of women around identity, helping them to understand that, who you are is very valuable. That, when we focus on who we are and build that part of us that allows us to grow, our kids, our family, they're the benefactors of our success and our investments. And a lot of women don't think about it that way. As a result of growing an amazing business, getting signed to Emmy-nominated, nationally syndicated television shows, doing corporate strategic partnerships with large brands, I had a lot of women that said, I want to know how to build my business organically, authentically, like you. Okay. And they wanted me to coach them in business. So for the last 15 years, I've coached women and have helped them to be able to understand that you can grow a business with your soft skills or your hard skills. Your hard skills are what you're doing professionally, your soft skills, or maybe what you're doing in your life that's really working. And there's an echo. People are always asking you, how did you organize something? Or how is it that you practice something in motherhood that would really be significant for them? I want you to know that your gifts are valid and they will make room for you. And whenever I come live, I always talk about this. I've coached hundreds of women and helped them to package their knowledge into products and services that are high value, that have delivered over and over again, not only for themselves, but for others. I want you to understand that fear is your gift. It's not your enemy. And so many people think that it is. For me, I remember one of the most intimate experiences that I had with fear was I didn't know how to swim. I was 40 years old, and all my life I never learned to swim. But I was always water exposed, but I never had the confidence in water. And I decided in my 40s to learn to swim. And I knew that because my fear was great, hear me on this, because your fear might be great around the thing you want to do that you haven't committed to yet. I started a triathlon team for other women who equally couldn't swim. It was 12 of us or 11 of us. They couldn't swim either. And um, we were called the Iron Moms. And these women were going to have to learn to swim for the period of 9 months so that we could prepare for our very first triathlon race, which was a 0.62 or 0.67 mile swim. That was an open water swim in a lake. Come on, and a bike and a run. Bike and run, that was easy for me. But there was the psychological aspect of doing the thing that scared me out of, like, the thing that was unimaginable, the thing that my entire life I wasn't good at, that really, really scared me. And I'll never forget, I ended up doing 3 triathlons and 1 relay race. And I'll never forget my very first triathlon. And when I was finishing the swim, and when you start the swim, everyone's really little, right? Like they're small. And when you turn, you're at the halfway point, people become, they visually, you start to see them in a bigger way because you're coming closer to shore. And I remember thinking, this thing that I thought I wasn't good at my entire life, I started to think, man, you're an amazing swimmer. Look what you just did. You just, not only did you swim in a lake, open water swim, not only did you swim 0.67 miles, I could swim up to 2 miles without stopping by the time I was done training. But you get to live with a different gift. You get to live with a different definition of yourself when you face fear. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight, because there are so many individuals that I have the opportunity to talk to that are talented, they're smart, and they're sharp, and they're incredible. But the one thing that gets in the way of every single thing is that their version of how they define themselves is based on their fears. You see, their fears, their doubts, their insecurities. They're thinking about the no's more than the yeses. They're thinking about who they're not more than who they are. They're thinking about what won't work instead of what the possibility looks like. And the reality is that, when you face the parts of yourself that are self-doubting and you overcome those parts of yourself, who you become in the process changes your definition forever. You see, forever, I changed my definition of myself because I faced my fear. I challenged it. I disciplined myself to not allow the version of me that was limited, the version of me that said, you can't do this, the version of me that said, you'll drown, like the version of me that had the smallest thoughts about my possibility. I didn't allow those to be what would define me. And I wanted to do a live today because I know that I'm talking to you, that maybe what you've done in your work life has been incredible. And you know that as a result of the echo of what people say to you about who you are and the results that you create, and and how you show up character-wise, integrity-wise, your level of discipline, how you implement, you're the bomb.com. But when you think about launching on your own, you only think about how it's not going to work, or maybe the fear and the doubt is around what others might think of you if you fail. Because if you've created significant success in your life, a lot of times the greatest fear isn't that you can deliver results. It's just like, what if the business doesn't work? Because your echo up until now has been so great at work, in your career, and people adore you for what you can do. And you haven't had the ability or you haven't had the opportunity to deal with the risk factor of just sharing all of who you are. What is that costing you, right? Is it costing you your dream? Is it costing you, to die inside this idea of what's possible for you because you're not willing to face your fear? I tell you, like, I started living the moment that I decided, like, to face the fear, like to say, I feel this and I'm going to figure it out. I decided that I would not be defined by my limitations. I wouldn't allow the doubt to be the loudest voice in my story. I just didn't want to tell that story. I didn't want to tell that story to myself, but I also didn't want that to be my example to my children. And I didn't want that to be the example for anyone else that thought, like, oh, she's so awesome. It's like, she's so awesome, but she won't even face the biggest challenge inside of herself is that she's got a dream that she's not seen anyone else do, and she won't honor it. One of the things I've learned over the years is a result of taking the risk, right? Facing my fears, is that a lot of times you're meant to broker the dream. It's the reason that you're the only person that sees it. And a lot of us who are dreamers, hear me, lean in, that you see things that other people don't see. And so if you test the idea, right? If you ask other people who are not dreamers, who don't take risks, who aren't as talented or smart as you, they're nice people, they will tell you, like, look, you already have a great career. You're already making six figures plus. Like just do that. You're doing too much. But see, they don't understand the calling that's on your life. The calling that's on your life is the reason why you can't stop thinking about the thing that scares you. And I want you to know, just as a person that's faced this over and over again, it will work for you. But it won't work if you just sit at home and wonder, like, will it work? And you dream about, will it work? It will work for you when you decide to take the risk, when you decide to bet on yourself, when you decide to be unapologetic about the dreams that you have and the vision that you have and the calling that's on your life. You'll realize that actually currently, if you aren't taking that risk, you're incongruent. And when you do take the risk, you become aligned. And what that means is a more fulfilling life. Like, I feel in my life that I'm fully expressed. I work with brilliant, smart, amazing women. I help them put the pieces together, and I help them to see the things for themselves that they can't see or know is possible without, my level of insight, without standing on my shoulders. Think about yourself. Think about, what is it that you do that the world needs, that as a result of you not doing the work or the self-work on yourself, that you're denying God the opportunity to be able to bless somebody else that needs what you have. And yeah, I'm calling you out. It was on my heart today because I recognize that so many people make decisions out of fear and lack and insecurity and doubt. And it's the thing that keeps them from their next level. So your next level is available to you right now, but it's not available when you don't know how to choose powerfully for yourself, because you don't see or believe for yourself that it's possible, because you talk yourself out of whatever that is. I don't usually do lives around, motivation to say, look, you can do this. But I want you to understand that sometimes when we have distinct gifts and callings on our lives, it's scary. And you're not afraid of of failure, because you fail all the time. Sometimes that's the most comfortable place that we can be. Sometimes we're afraid of the light. We're afraid of what happens if I hit that $1 million goal. We're afraid of what happens if I have those six-figure or more months. We're afraid of what happens if I'm on a national stage, if I have the best-selling book, if I am a New York Times best-selling author. What happens then? Because it's so unfamiliar that you don't have anything that can relate to it. So this live tonight, I hope that it supports you. I hope it calls you out. I hope it moves you. I hope it makes you take an action that in the direction of elevation in your life, in your world. I want you to understand that being afraid is a very normal thing, but staying afraid is a decision. And you have the opportunity to choose powerfully for yourself each and every day. And I hope that you'll take that action. If this has supported you in some way, I'd love to hear it. You can DM me if I can support you anyway. I'd love to. Obviously, I help women to package who they are into a high value product, online or offline. But this is bigger than that. This is about you not being all of who you are and what the cost of not being all of who you are is. The cost to the people you're meant to serve, the cost to the life you're meant to live, the cost to the impact that you're meant to make, the cost to the level of prosperity that's waiting for you really right now, right? It's that. And not building a life around, right, like indecision or who you are afraid to be, but stepping into the highest and tallest version of yourself. I hope this has supported you in some way. Again, I'm Mia Regic, business and life consultant. I wanted to come here live tonight, just really quickly, for those of you who likely are dealing with this and you're like, this is what I do professionally and I'm really good at it. and you think you're in conflict, like your dream is in conflict with your light, it isn't, right? Your dream has prepared you for your light. And I want to encourage you to take an action. If you want to have a conversation around that, you can go to miaredrick.com. I'll post that here. Book a 30-minute conversation, and we can figure out what and how to take that level of that dream and make it a reality for you. All right. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your courage to be here. I want to thank you for your vulnerability. And I want to encourage you to take an action that can absolutely change your life and your world. I love you. Talk to you soon.
I have been working with Mia Redrick for a couple of months now. I come to this experience with a lot of education. She was speaking my language from day one. What has changed for me is with all of the education, with all of the training and workshops and private coaching and things that I've had, what I didn't have was a real understanding on how I could package these things, price them, and promote them so that I could monetize what it is that I do and what it is that I wanted to do. And now with Mia, I have an understanding of how to take my tangible and intangible gifts, talents, and skills and put those things in a package that allows me to serve other people and benefit from it.
I was stuck. I never thought of my knowledge as something that I could create it as a proprietary system. What is the value of that? For me, it is priceless. And I'm so happy I made the investment because I can now see how my business can be transformed and how I can be transformed as a result of this work. So I cannot thank Mia enough.
Before I met Mia, I was selling my product for a very, very low price, and I did not just believe in what I was worth. So I had to change my mindset. I had to change the way I thought. I had to start believing in abundance and expecting it. And so these are the things that I had to learn as Mia mentored us. Now I'm happy to say I'm selling my product for what it's worth.
Before working with Mia, I couldn't sell a $297 product. After working with Mia for about 10 months, I was pitching a $10,000 product to a company.